Hi, my name's Kate. I'm one of the owners of Hub and Spoke, and we have partnered with the San Diego Public Library for a bicycle kitchen. And today we're going to go over headsets. So we're going to start with 1-inch headsets. Those are the older type of headsets that we would see from the 70s or the 80s, or even farther back. The biggest way to tell which headset you have is how your handlebars mount. If it looks like a gooseneck, you probably have a threaded headset. And when I say threaded, we're talking about what this fork looks like. As you can see, on this fork there are threads. And that's how our headset is going to compress those bearings into the head tube of the bicycle, which is the front tube of the bicycle. If you look here, I've lined out in order, as always you should do when you're disassembling or buy a new part. They always come in order. We start at the bottom of the headset and move all the way to the top. And notice that there are two bearings. They're going to go into that head tube, and when we go to make our adjustments later in the video, that's what we're adjusting, the compression on those bearings. And that's 1-inch headsets. All right, guys, so here we're looking at a 1-inch threaded headset. I'm just going to go over the parts and then show you how to make an adjustment, what's a no-no, and when you're too loose or too tight. As you can see, there's a top nut here that has wrench flats, a spacer, and then another adjusting cone with wrench flats. Underneath that cone, inside this silver cup, is our bearing. This is where we're going to make our adjustment. We're going to compress onto those bearings to that perfect sweet spot. At the bottom here, you have your bottom bearing and your bottom cone on the fork. Again, that's just this movement here, cup, cone, bearing, same as a hub, same as a bottom bracket. So when we're looking at why I need to adjust my headset, usually it feels like your fork's going to fall off, and that's never a good feeling. So let's make sure we have the right tools. You're going to want a headset wrench and an adjustable wrench. This skinny headset wrench is bicycle specific. Notice it fits on that bottom adjusting cone. You can use it on the top one. I only have one on me right now. We're going to use it on the bottom. Now let's say my fork is loose. What I'm going to do is use my adjustable wrench on this top one and using opposing forces, lefty-loosey, that top nut. And look at that. It's going to spin all the way off. That's what holds our adjustment. That's why it's called our locking nut. Now if it feels like your fork is going to come off, this bottom adjusting cone, we need to tighten that up. We need to go righty-tighty, applying more pressure on those bearings. If your handlebars don't move, that means that this cone is too tight, and we're going to need to back it up. This is something that you may have to adjust, lock it back down, check it, and adjust again. So what I'm going to do is, I know I was riding loose because this is my bike and, well, it doesn't get tune-ups. I'm going to go a little tick tighter on this bottom adjusting cone. Now, to lock my adjustment, I got to take this big adjustable wrench and tighten that top nut back down. Now, as you get closer and closer to that adjusting cone, you're going to want to make sure that this wrench doesn't move. That's your adjustment. So we're going to keep tightening it. And don't forget, this is what is holding your fork on. So let's really snug that top nut up there. Once I've got my, or what I hope is my adjustment, we're going to take the handlebars, make sure they still move. They do, they do. And we're going to shake this front wheel. Make sure we don't feel any knocking. If it feels good, hop out on the bike and take a test ride and see if you can feel that headset moving or knocking at all. Use your front brake and make sure everything's tight before you go on that test ride. All right, so the next type of headset we're going to go over is threadless, and as you can guess, it probably means it doesn't have threads. So if your stem looks something like this and not that gooseneck with the long L at the bottom, you're probably riding threadless. This is the newer style. It is a stiffer ride. That is, a lot of road bikes and mountain bikes end up having this on there. As you can see on our fork, we have no threads. So the headset does change a little bit. I'm no longer adding compression by tightening something to the fork. Instead, as you can see, here's bottom to top of a threadless headset. Still got two bearings, have to. But all the way down here, we have a star nut. It goes in the fork And then we have this sweet little bolt, and it's actually what threads into the fork. So we're still compressing on that fork and head tube, just in a different manner, a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. And this adjustment you can do on the road whenever you want with the tiny little Allen key. All right, so now we're going to go over real quick the parts of a threadless headset, and then I'm going to show you how to adjust these easy headsets. First, we have our stem here. That's what's holding our handlebars, allows us to steer. This black piece with the bolt in it, that's our compression cap. Just like those other two nuts on the threaded headsets, this one's going to pull those bearings together. So we have our top cap, stem, spacers, and that's just for sizing your bike correctly. Then we're going to have our cup and bearing and cup and bearing. And all we're going to do when you want to adjust a threadless headset is a one tool, grab it, 4, 5, 6. The first thing we're going to do is this stem holds that adjustment. So it does what that lock nut did on the threaded one, but now it's actually our stem. So make sure you loosen those bolts. Notice I loosened them one a little bit, one a little bit, one a little bit. That just keeps even pressure across that stem. We'll do the same when we tighten it. As you can see right now, this is moving around. This headset is loose. You're going to take a 5mm and you're going to turn this top bolt until it feels snug and you can feel it pulling that stem down. Now don't go muscle man on this and get it as tight as you possibly can. This is our adjustment. So I'm going to go finger tight, and then I'm going to move it. All right, my handlebars are moving, my fork's moving, that's good. Let's give that front wheel a shake, see if we feel a knock or if our fork might slide off, who knows. All right, that feels good. Now, this is it. Make sure you lock that stem back down, a little bit on that side, a little bit on this side, then a little bit more on this side. And if you are riding a carbon bike, make sure you use a torque wrench. For us that just have these old mountain bikes, make sure it's tight. Grab the stem, see if you can twist it. If it doesn't twist, you're good to ride. Go for a test ride and make sure you don't feel that knock. I just want to thank you for watching the video about headsets, and I hope that you got your adjustment down from here at Hub and Spoke, the San Diego Public Library Bicycle Kitchen in sunny San Diego. We'll see you next week.